So, welcome back to today's game development journey on the day 49, and I still didn't do. I'm still not able to finish my game in here till now. In yesterday, I played along with the chapter 9 section in my game, and I make some adjustment and I made some progress in there in order to get a little closer to my game in here. So today I will continue where I left off in yesterday. I had some notes which I took in order to do it, and I have finished some of these ones, but some of other ones are still on the line, which is, for example, one of it is that positive level and condition, applying positive level and condition and negative level and condition for the chapter 4 sections in order to finish the chapter 4 section via positive or negative, and also the little information texts for the kids for this chapter 4 section. Since this game is an educational game and this game tries to teach kids, not tries to teach, but tries to create an impression with the kids about the digestion system, how digestion system is working, and I needed to input some small text elements within the chapters, inside the chapters. So I will just continue from here with the that's why I will just needed to implement some text, some information text box with balloons, talking balloons inside the game. So let's continue where we left off, and let's start with today's journey about this game, this Energy Hero game. So a positive level end after 3 laps should be implemented for both the opponent and the player, which means that either the player or the opponent completes 3 whole chapters, 3 whole laps inside the chapter 4, both of them. The game should be ended, the chapter should be ended, and provide a feedback text for the character. So where can I implement these ones? I just wanted to start with loading the chapter 4 section to remember where I left in yesterday. So this is my chapter 4 section, and on trigger enter will be a good solution, like a checkbox maybe on the over the finish line. You can do the trick of finishing up checking if the chapter finishes or not. So, finish line. I already had a finish line game object in here. Maybe I just can add a finish line box collider over there and checking both the opponent and the character for the chapter and condition. Now I added the on trigger enter in both the character trace, which is my main script for the player in here in this chapter 4, and also in the opponent I added these lines just to check if the opponents or the player completed the goes over this on trigger and this box collider, which in future will trigger lap completion for my characters for my for the opponent and the player. So let's just check that if this is working or not. Maybe making a box collider thinner will be better. Yes, like this. So let's load my save file in here and let's see if it's working or not. Opponent completed lab. Opponent completed lab. My opponent is really faster than I thought. However, I do not have any triggers from player completed lab. Why can't I have this one? Carry, card, race, and this is the script I had, which is already is trigger and has rigid body over. Why isn't this guy triggered when I go over the finish lab collider? This is my opponent screen. It also has a rigid body and is trigger card render. So both of these triggers should be working. This is a player card. This is my box collider. Something is wrong with the tag. No. Next, check that if close has any problem. Trigger called player created left. Yes, my trigger. Yes, player completed lab is called right now. Opponent completed, player completed. Both of these are working flawlessly. Now I need to check how many laps does the player or the opponent completed. Since chapter 4 GUI is the master script for this chapter, both of these values, both of the lap completion numbers in opponent or the player should be directed, should be kept in this chapter 4 GUI in order to see that if this chapter is finished positively or negatively. Let's generate a easy solution for this and make integer of lap completed by opponent, another integer lap completed by player, and set both of these to 0 in the beginning and update lap completion counts. Increase, let's just is completed by player. Okay, let's just make it boolean. This is not the best solution for resolving this issue, in order to coding this feature. This is not the best solution, and I understand it, and I'm not complaining about it, but since I want my fastest solution while developing this game, because this game took so many hours, more than I should invest. I just wanted to finish this one and see the end results. That's why I'm just writing down the simplest code, the simplest solution that came inside my mind. And please keep this not as the best thing to do in this situation. That's by opponents, by player, lap completed by player. No, this is not lap complete count by player and increase it with 1. Let's generate a reference for my chapter 4 GUI. And do the same thing for the opponent, because I also need a reference for chapter 4 GUI inside the opponent. False true. Also, I also wanted to implement for checking the end condition right now. This condition is checked inside. Let me show you. This is my chapter for GUI. Chapter for GUI script. This is my game object for the chapter 4, and this node. No, sorry. This node is my player active node, and the node tree, the behavior tree is checking this node in every half second and see that if chapter ends condition is ended or not. Do not just keep your eye on this check if mount needs something, because that method name was inherited from chapter 1, and I did not want to change the name right now. So let's go and find this method in order to see if the opponent finished earlier or the player finished earlier. Check if mount needs something. So if count lab completed count by opponent equals to 3, do chapter end positive. If, then return, because I do not want to call any further from here if a chapter end positive condition or chapter end negative condition happens. The completed count by player equals to 3, do chapter and the opponent, if the opponent finishes 3 laps before the player does, do chapter end negative. And if the player completes the 3 laps, triggers the finish line with 3 laps, do chapter end positive. This may possible problem with the bugs in here that you can think of, that I can think of right now, is does the player is able to go over this finish line more than once, like going forward and going backwards. I already removed that line, that bug from here. Okay, let me show you, let me explain you over the chapter, inside the chapter. When I'm thinking about, when I'm writing a code, I had generated an habit of already thinking that what will be the possible problems that may arise, what will be the possible bugs that I may face in the near future. That's why when I'm writing this code, I had to think about that if the player manages to go over the finish line for more than once. However, in this chapter, it's not possible, because the opponent and the player can only go forwards. I removed their backwards inputs from this chapter. That's why I will not need to check if the player actually finishes that lap with the direction, because if I also did not remove the backwards movement from both the player or the character or the opponent, I needed to check also the trigger with the direction control. Maybe I needed to put 2 on trigger enters in here in order to check the left finish position, because the player needs to first go through one trigger and goes to the next trigger. However, in this situation, it's not a possible block for me. So let's continue from here. This is do chapter and negative, this is do chapter and positive. I just keep these things currently. I do not touch the chapter and negative and chapter and positive methods right now. Let me see the chapter and positive also. Yes, this is here, the guy is here, and debug log, chapter and negative cold, chapter and positive cold. Let's see that if the opponent finishes, and let's see that if I get my debug log in here. First one, yes, the chapter and negative cold, but it's cold in every half seconds. So when the chapter and condition is cold, I just want to change the nodes of the behavior tree also. How about this guy over here? Let's disable the repeat and set the node to chapter and negative. Okay, well, where is my canvas? Chapter 4 GUI. Do chapter and negative. If I change the enumeration to chapter and negative, do chapter and negative should be called. So I do not need to also call this guy. But I need to, since I disabled the repeats, I needed to restart. Yes, this guy, this line. In here also. Also, there is another problem that since both of the players and the opponent starts in front of the behind the finish line, behind the trigger, when the game starts, they does not start with lap count, finish lap count with 0. They start lap count with 1, because when the race starts, they just directly pass through this trigger. That's why I just needed to, if I wanted to check if the player finishes 3 laps or the opponent finishes 3 laps, I just wanted to increase the lap count completion number by 1. So let's try this chapter 4 GUI for the negative again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes, chapter and negative is called. And 5, and 6, and 7. Okay. I got my debug log message in here. So, but it's weird. I do not have any balloon, any talking balloon over the main menu. Okay, let's retry again. 2, 3, 4. Yes, the chapter negative is called. But where is it? So text parent game or set active true. Next button set active true. Negative called inside methods. 1, 2, 3. Okay, chapter and negative is called. However, do chapter and negative inside the canvas is not called. Do chapter and negative. This belongs to chapter 4 GUI. Okay, let's see this again from the beginning. Is player active, chapter and negative. But this method is not called. Why? Why it's not called? Why this is not calling? How about like this one? Chapter and negative. But I still do not have repeat false. It just set the repeat to false. Okay, I do not want to investigate this one. This thing, I do not want to investigate it. Just comment out these methods, because this method is already inside my chapter 4 GUI. So this should be an easy fix for me to do. Also, I needed to input do chapter and negative and do chapter and positive. If the chapter and negative condition happens or the positive condition happens, I just needed to set the conditions as them in the chapter start condition, like the keyboard handling to 0 or set the character speed to 0, etc. Such as if chapter 4 GUI negative and condition happens, opponents. Do I have any reference for the opponents? No. Opponents in here. Set race start condition to false. Also carry race. Character, does my character movement says race start condition? No. Race has started. Race has started. Set race has started. Character movement 4. Character movement chapter 4. Character movement set race has started to false. This should do the trick after negative level and condition is met. 2, 3 missing, and I cannot move my character. However, the opponent still continues to run through the track. And opponent, where are you? Okay, its race start condition is set to false. However, its current speed just stuck in 4. So how about find my opponent in here and set the current speed to 0 also. Okay, opponent is still running through the course. Its current speed is 0, but I should also deal with the input vector? I can't stop the opponent. I cannot stop it. I cannot stop him. Its input vector is also in 0. But this guy just continues to run through the track. Its player fixed updates is in start condition. Right now, it should not go through this race has started condition because I set the race has started condition to false. Yes, opponent and set race has started condition to false. Its current speed is 0, its opponent input vector is vector to 0, as I already see inside Unity. However, the update character position or something is still called. What am I missing? I'm think I'm missing something in here. This is the start race condition. Okay, I also need if race has started is false, then I need to call this two line fixed. Let's just create a debug loop in here to see if the problem fixed update inside opponent. Let's see that if the problem arises from here. Okay, this update is still calling. As the call of the update is stopped in here on the negative level and condition met. However, the opponent does not stop there, but the problem does not belong to here. Okay, do I have any spline follower? Let's play spline follower, play spline follower, get distance with player. Okay, I do not have any reference for the spline follower of the opponent. Spline follower opponent. This is player spline follower, this is opponent spline follower. Okay, I do not understand this one. Actually, I'm not. Do I use this spline follower in any of this script? Spline update follow speed. Yes, spline follower opponents spline. What does player dot spline follower is meaning? Oh, I see. Spline follower. Okay, that's hard to read. So public line follower. It's spline follower returns spline follower. So instead of writing it like that, opponent player dot gets spline follower. Yes, it's better to read for me to read. Get spline follower. So how about player spline? No, not player spline follower, but spline follower equals speed spline follower of this guy, the opponent spline follower. Let's just rename it as opponent spline follower. Set the follow speed to 0. 0f. No. Follow speed to 0. I guess this should do the trick for stopping the opponent, the non-stopping opponents. Okay, something is broken, I guess. No reference. Follow speeds. Oh, I broke the reference in here. Yes, when I change it. Let's retry it. Go to chapter 4. 1, 2, 3. And the opponent stops. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Unity. Thanks to the Unity gods for helping me solve this bug. Right now, my level end condition, negative level end condition, is met. I also wanted to check if the positive level end condition is met also. character movements. Let's see chapter 4 GUI. Positive. Positive. Chapter and positive. Disable, repeat. Trend positive. This guy over here. Select these two and add these also inside chapter and positive section. And let's see if the chapter and positive is working or not. Since I do not have any intention to race with the opponents right now, just decreased 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I managed to finish it before the opponent does. However, something is weird, that my player just continues to run through the track. Okay, chapter and positive called. Did I have any chapter and positive? Yes, I had chapter and positive call in here. Okay, chapter and positive, set race has started, character movements. Okay, just give me 2 more minutes and I will just wrap up my work in here, because I do not want to leave like this. If race has started condition, fixed update, penalty applied. Oh, how about apply penalty? Because applying penalty, apply penalty duration, apply penalty applied, set disable movements. True. Where are you? Disable movement to true. Also, total movement vectors to 0, and also set the current speed to 0. I'm not really sure if writing down base is relevant in here, but no, it says game can be simplified. Okay, let's try chapter and positive condition also. Go to new game, go to save manager, find my chapter 4 save. Let's race it. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yes, chapter and condition is met, but the character is still moving. Why? Apply penalty with duration. Apply penalty with duration. Carry cards. Race. Collect nutrients. Carry card render. Follow speed to 0. Okay, I just needed to set this follow speed to 0. Spline follower. Follow speed to 0. And how about also adding these 2 lines in here. New game, find my save manager, go to my chapter 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chapter ended positive. I cannot move. My the character cell stops, and the opponent is already stopped. Yeah, right now I just needed to implement the chapter and negative and chapter and positive scripts, the text values into the talking balloons, and maybe a end screen for my game after this chapter finishes. And maybe I needed to just fine tune the things over here, the fine-tune the values of the movement values or the pace values, etc. For the player and the opponents, because right now this game is not really suitable for the kids. So I just needed to make the level I just needed to make sure that the level is easier to play. So I just wanted to create some nodes over here. Okay, positive level nodes to implement it. Yes, this is done also. I finished this thing. Negative level node should be implemented. Okay, this is already also finished. I needed to implement a chapter and text should be implemented. Little text inside the chapter should be implemented when the player grabs the nutrients also. In addition to this, player chapter needs to be playtest thing should be done on this chapter in order to make the chapter more playable, easier for the kids. Who is easier for the kids? Target audience. And that's all. That's for today. Let's wrap up for today and see you in the tomorrow morning again. And thanks for watching till now, if you managed to watch it till now. Have a nice day.